Hi everyone, welcome to week 9 and congratulations on being halfway through the course. That is a big accomplishment. I'm recording this on Saturday, so many of you are still turning in Essay 2. I've got a stack of essays that I'm grading right now from an in-person class that I hope to finish probably on Tuesday, and so that's when I will begin grading your essays in the order that I've received them. But you shouldn't have to wait any longer than 2 weeks and probably a lot less to get my feedback on your second essay. Make sure that you're submitting that essay through the Essay 2 profile essay Turnitin link in week 8. So this week we start an argument essay, and you may be thinking, great, I wrote these in high school, I know just how they work, and you're right, to a degree you do understand just how they work. The difference is that at a college level, we want you to be both more narrow in your topic. We want probably more rigorous evidence. Hence, you have a library source requirement that we're going to be talking a lot more about next week. And one thing that I always suggest to students is to please choose a topic with which you have some direct personal experience. When you have that direct personal experience, it lends a lot of ethos to your writing. And if you're not quite sure what ethos is yet, be sure you do your readings and writing commons for this week. It means credibility. Okay, so that's the first bit of advice, is please choose something with which you have some personal experience. The second bit I kind of already went over. You want to make sure that it's appropriately narrow. Taking on great big topics like the Second Amendment, for instance, that could be a book. It probably ought to be a book if we're talking about writing for the college level. But there are a lot of different proposals out there that could affect gun ownership. But an essay as broad as should we have guns or should we not have guns, that's probably a little bit too broad. Look at some of the proposals out there about things like bump stocks, about conceal and carry laws. Now, just conceal and carry, again, is probably too broad for a college level argument essay. What are some of the proposals that are out there for when it is or is not appropriate to conceal and carry? This is probably going to involve, this essay, doing a little bit of research before you even get to your thesis to narrow it down a bit. Now, not always, but sometimes. The other word of caution that I like to give students relates to something that I said just a little bit earlier. You need to be sure that you are backing your thesis statement, your argument, with credible academic sources. An example that I kind of like to give my students is, let's say that you're at In-N-Out. They're about to open one right down the street from where I live. I'm kind of excited. Anyway, and you're eating a great big juicy double-double. I am a vegetarian, but the grilled cheese is great. Anyway, you're eating your double-double, and I run up to you and I say, no, 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 stop. You can't eat that burger. And you're a reasonable person. And so you say to me, well, why, Leona? Is there some kind of food poisoning outbreak? Are you worried about my cancer risks? And I say, no, no, no. Hinduism teaches us that cows are sacred. Now, unless you're a Hindu, what you're probably going to say to me is, I'm really glad you feel that way, Leona. I'm glad that belief system works for you, but that's not really compelling evidence for me. Sometimes sources that are really valuable in other contexts of our lives have helped us to shape our opinions, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. But in the academy, we want to rely on sources that are going to persuade everybody here at college, regardless of the various different belief systems that they might come from. So that's one thing. The other thing is that when you are supporting your thesis with these credible sources, it's going to make actually you come off as a more informed, balanced person. The other way, of course, that you can show that you are balanced, informed, build goodwill, is to treat people, especially those who disagree with your position, with utmost respect and civility, which unfortunately isn't something that we see as much of in our society as we ought to. The example that I like to give is a paper that I wrote in 6th grade that I'm not particularly proud of. I was a 6th grader. In 6th grade, I wrote a paper about abortion, an argument paper. Now, there are a lot of problems. First of all, that topic's way too broad to write a good paper about. Second of all, I'm a sixth grader. What do I really know about those issues? But the thing that I'm probably least proud of in that paper is that I referred to abortion as murder. Now, at the time, that's how I felt about it. That's not necessarily the way I feel about it now, but I did feel that way about it then. And you could say, well, you're just telling how you felt, you felt that way. But the problem is, if I'm really trying to persuade people who might disagree with me, I may never convince them to feel the way that I do, but if I'm trying to reach out to them and persuade them, to use that word is going to turn them off right away. I'm not establishing myself as a person of goodwill. You can hold pretty much any strongly held opinion and be passionate about it without disenfranchising the people on different sides of the issue. Now, of course, that paper was problematic for a lot of other reasons. The topic was too broad. I didn't have enough experience with what I was writing about to be credible. All of those are issues that you're definitely going to be able to avoid when you write your paper. So the discussion forum this week is going to help us think about topics that could be good for your particular paper. And in the writing journal, you're going to be working through what a thesis should be like for this particular essay and thinking about the kinds of support that you can use for your essay. All right, everybody, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you online this week. Thanks.